Yuji vs Sukuna is probably the most important fight in Jujutsu Kaisen. Now, I say probably for a couple of reasons. First of all, we only got the intro to what could be the fight. With our luck, we could return to this fight and it already happened off screen. Then people would comment, "Lol, this video aged well." The other reason is something I'm sure a lot of you thought as soon as you saw this video. What about Kenjaku? And you're absolutely right, if that's actually a thing. I know a lot of people think Yuji versus Kenjaku is going to be a thing, and I'm one of those people. However, this is the here and now. We know Yuji is currently fighting Sukuna. We don't know if he's going to fight Kenjaku. So while Yuji versus Kenjaku would also be pretty important, we can't deny that this fight going on right now is just as important, if not more. And for a few reasons. One of them having to do with the series' best character, but we'll save that for later in the video. Right now, let's take the time to explore all of the build-up towards this fight, what's at stake, and why this fight will most likely define Jujutsu Kaisen. The first reason is the fact that this fight is going to answer a lot of lingering questions in the series. Now, this is a topic I covered in my last video, so I'm not going to go too in-depth on everything, but it's worth noting just how much we're expecting from this fight. So, for example, one thing we'd like to know is what's going on with Yuji's abilities. Oh, by the way, should go without saying, but this video will contain spoilers. Anyway, Yuji hasn't really had any abilities for the majority of the series. He had Sukuna, but that was kind of it. Divergent Fist and Black Flash are also a thing, but those aren't unique to Yuji. Like, it's kind of his thing, but any of the other characters could use them. So the question's always been like, okay, well, is he ever gonna learn an ability of his own? And this would certainly be a great fight to reveal a special ability or two. What they would be, I have no idea, but it'd still be good timing. Now, on the topic of abilities, one question we've been dying to know for a while now is what the heck is going on with Yuji's mind controlling people? Well, it's not really mind controlling since he's not in control of it, more like mind trolling, I guess? I don't know, the thing where he makes people his friends, you know what I mean. Anyway, this has been a thing for a while now, and we've never really gotten any answers. We don't know what the conditions are, how to break it, why Yuji can do it in the first place. I believe Akutami might have commented on this, but besides that, there's nothing. So now might be a good time to reveal what's going on. And I say that because of Sukuna specifically. If you remember, Sukuna watched what happened when this happened to Choso. So the implication is that Sukuna watched this ability work when he was still inside Yuji and knows more about it than Yuji. So if this were to happen again in this fight, Sukuna would be able to give some kind of explanation. Now, while we're on this topic, one other thing I'd like to point out is the fact that Sukuna was inside Yuji. Granted, he was still in his own little zone, but he was still there. So whatever secrets we might not know about Yuji, like what Kenjaku did to him, there's a chance Sukuna might have some answers. Granted, it's a pretty small chance, but there's still a chance. Now, those are all the positives to this fight. Sukuna obviously has a lot to offer, but that's if he even wants to. We have to remember that Sukuna is kind of on a win streak as a total jerk in this series, which is another reason this particular fight is so important, because of our good boy, Megumi. But before I say more on that, make sure to like the video if you've been enjoying it so far. It's the easiest way to support the channel, and it helps spread the video to other viewers like you. Now, another reason this fight is so important and why so many people are looking forward to it is because, well, to put it lightly, Sukuna is kind of a dick. I mean, he's the god of curses, but he's also the god of trolling. He's gotten Yuji killed a bunch of times. He laughed at Yuji when his friend died. He killed one of the best characters in the series, and anytime Yuji's ever needed help and asked for it, Sukuna's ignored him. Well, for the most part. There was that one time, but he was still a dick about it. Point being, if there's anyone who needs to be punched in the face JoJo style, it's Sukuna. He's a cool character, but he's done a lot of bad stuff. So if we don't get that in this fight with Yuji, I have a feeling people are gonna be pissed. We just need some kind of W. Especially considering everything Sukuna has done not just to Yuji, but also to our boy Megumi. First of all, the fact that Sukuna possessed Megumi, the fan-favorite character, that's probably when he crossed the line for a lot of people. Like that chapter where he does a sneaky thing and switches over to Megumi, that hits heavy. Granted, I'm sure a lot of people think the Sukuna Megumi combo is the coolest thing ever, but it's still heavy. especially considering what he did to Megumi's sister. Megumi's sister was huge. He said he wanted to meet a woman like her, his whole thing was making sure she was safe, and then Sukuna ruins that and racks up even more bad karma. So there's a lot of injustice that's been done to Megumi, again, the single most popular character in the series. And if we don't get some poetic justice from Yuji, then that's another thing that could potentially hurt the ending of JJK. Plus, odds are, Yuji vs Sukuna won't be the very last fight of the series, and there will be an even bigger fight afterwards. Could be against Kenjaku, or it could be a huge brawl against an even stronger Sukuna. Who knows? But I have a sneaking suspicion that if the Megumi we know and love doesn't play a part in the final fight of the series, people are gonna lose their minds. That all depends on Yuji being able to save Megumi in this fight and bring him back. And on that same note, it's also important that it be Yuji because he is the main character of the story. Gojo vs Sukuna was one thing. They're the two strongest characters, so we needed to see what a fight between them looked like. That was more of a hype and power scaling thing. Narratively speaking, this is way more important. First of all, we've been saying for a while now how Yuji's kinda been on the sidelines. So as the MC, this fight is huge for him. And it makes sense when you look at everything Sukuna has done. And considering everything that's happened to Megumi, it's important that it be Yuji to finish things because Yuji is one of his closest friends. If Yuji can't help Megumi, then that's kind of a big blow to his integrity as the lead character. Does he have to be the one to finish Sukuna? No, not necessarily. But if Yuji's been set up as the main character, then if he can't even help his friend when he's in need and he's been suffering this much, then what good is he as the protagonist? Now, on the other hand, if Yuji crushes it in this fight, uses some badass moves, and manages to save Megumi, then that could cement him as an iconic main character. That, among other reasons, is why this fight is so important. Basically, there's a lot more at stake besides the fight going on right now. There's questions that need to be answered, there's build up to Sukuna finally being defeated, and there's massive potential for Yuji to grow and improve as a character. When you consider all of these reasons, it only makes sense that this will probably be the most important fight in all of Jujutsu Kaisen. But maybe I'm wrong. Where do you fall in this discussion? What are your thoughts on Yuji vs Sukuna? Share your thoughts down below and see what everyone else has to say. I'll pick my favorite and share it as comment of the week on my community tab. And if you'd like another discussion like this one, then make sure to check out my recent video on Maki. In that video, I explain why she's such a divisive character. You can find that video in the playlist linked right here. Until then, thank you for watching, and I hope to hear from you soon.